Do you feel the heartbeat of the world pulse through your veins, every joy, every sorrow, every unspoken struggle? This is the daily reality for an empath. Empathy is not just a skill, it's a profound, emotional superpower. It allows one to tune into the emotional atmosphere of a room, sense the unspoken distress in a friend's sigh, or experience joy in another's laughter. But for those known as empaths, this ability is magnified. Emotions are not merely understood, they are felt as if they were their own. Empathy has been a subject of fascination and study across cultures and epochs. The ancient Greeks discussed empathy in the context of theater, using the term pathos to describe the emotional impact of a play on its audience. In modern times, philosophers like David Hume and Adam Smith examined the idea of empathy as a natural human ability that promotes moral action and social harmony. Empaths possess a heightened sensitivity that sets them apart. Unlike the everyday empathy that many of us experience, an empath's ability is continuous and far-reaching. It involves a deep emotional and sometimes physical connection to those around them, which can be both a gift and a great challenge. This heightened sensitivity allows empaths to navigate the world with a unique perspective, attuned to the nuances of emotional communication that others might miss. Prometheus, a titan in Greek mythology, is often heralded as a symbol of benevolent foresight and immense empathy towards humankind. Unlike his fellow gods who resided in distant Olympus, Prometheus felt a deep connection with humans. His empathy for humanity led him to commit a daring act of defiance against Zeus. He stole fire from the gods and gifted it to humans. This fire symbolically represents not just literal warmth and light, but also knowledge, enlightenment, and the progression of civilization. Prometheus's sacrifice did not come without great personal cost. As punishment for his transgression, Zeus condemned him to eternal torment. Each day an eagle would feast on Prometheus's liver, which would then regenerate overnight, only to be consumed again the next day. This unending cycle of pain underscores the depth of his empathy and sacrifice. He endured this suffering because of his profound connection to the plight of humans, mirroring the emotional toll that empaths bear in their deep feelings for others. Prometheus's story illuminates the complex nature of empathy, highlighting it as a powerful, transformative force, yet one that comes with personal sacrifice and pain. This myth serves as a poignant reminder of the dual aspects of empathy, its potential to drive positive change and its capacity to bring personal hardship. Moving forward in time to today, the sun has barely risen, yet for you, as an empath, the day's emotional load is already heavy. As you navigate your morning commute, the crowded bus becomes a cacophony of emotions. You absorb snippets of a couple's silent argument, the anxious pulse of a job interviewee, and the suppressed excitement of a young man hiding an engagement ring in his pocket. Each emotion, as vivid to you as if it were your own, layers atop your personal feelings, creating a complex mosaic of shared human experience. At work, your ability to sense your colleagues' unspoken emotions makes you a supportive friend, but also leaves you drained. The subtle tension between two coworkers, the stress emanating from your boss, and the quiet sadness of a despondent intern, these are not just observed but deeply felt. Every interaction is an emotional exchange, and while this makes you invaluable in navigating workplace dynamics, it also means your emotional energy is depleted far quicker than your peers. At a team meeting, you feel the anxiety swirling around the room in a high-stress environment. It's almost palpable, like a heavy cloak draped over your shoulders. You know who is worried about an upcoming deadline, who is upset from a personal issue, and who is genuinely excited about a project. It's exhausting because you're processing not only your workload, but also the emotional undercurrents of the entire team. By lunchtime, you feel emotionally saturated, overwhelmed by the amalgamation of your environment's feelings. Your lunch break is not just a break from work, but a necessary retreat to a nearby park, where the natural calm helps you disentangle your emotions from those you have absorbed. Social events pose another layer of challenge. Parties, family gatherings, and even casual meetups are often daunting. The rush of emotions from happy to distraught can buffet you like a storm. Social gatherings are like walking through a storm of emotions, you think to yourself. Each smile and frown sends a wave that you feel compelled to navigate. It's draining, but understanding what everyone is feeling also helps you to mediate disputes or ease tensions before they escalate. This constant emotional input can be exhausting. You often find social interactions and crowded spaces particularly challenging. You may experience a heightened sense of vulnerability as you struggle to shield yourself from the emotional noise that accompanies large gatherings or public places. Similarly, in the world of Stranger Things, the character Eleven's ability to deeply connect with others' emotions, though a supernatural rendition, mirrors your own empathic experiences. A poignant example occurs in Season 2, where Eleven uses her powers to locate a missing girl. As she concentrates, she not only sees but feels the girl's profound fear and isolation. The connection is so intense that Eleven's physical and emotional state mirrors the girl's despair, illustrating how deeply empaths can dive into the emotions of others. Eminent psychiatrists explain that this deep emotional connection is not merely about feeling what others feel, but about a neurological engagement that transcends typical emotional responses. Dr. Judith Orloff, an expert in the field, suggests that empaths like Eleven, and possibly like you, possess an extraordinary capacity for deep emotional resonance with others. This is not just about feeling sympathy, but about experiencing others' emotions internally, which can be both a powerful tool and a profound challenge. Dr. Orloff further clarifies, empaths don't have the same filters which other people do. They are keenly aware of others, absorbing their feelings like emotional sponges and experiencing them as if they were their own. This heightened sensitivity allows for deep connections, but also leaves empaths vulnerable to emotional overload. Unlike others who might simply sympathize, you absorb emotional states, transforming them into personal experiences. This can lead to what is known as empathic distress, where the emotional load becomes so great that it can impair your own emotional health. Managing this requires understanding and techniques that can help buffer these intense interactions. For empaths, the world is often an intense symphony of emotions, each note striking with personal significance. This constant influx of emotional data can lead to sensory and emotional overload, a state where the brain's processing centers become overwhelmed, affecting an empath's ability to function normally. The concept of sensory overload is not just an empathic issue, but is also well documented in psychological studies. The amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for emotional processing, is notably more reactive in empaths. This hyper-responsiveness means that empaths not only perceive more emotional cues from their environment, but also react more intensely to them. Dr. Elaine Aron, a psychologist who pioneered research on highly sensitive people, explains that sensory processing sensitivity involves deeper cognitive processing of physical, social, and emotional stimuli. Pop culture often depicts characters who exemplify sensory and emotional overload. Consider Bruce Banner, the mild-mannered scientist who, when overwhelmed by emotional stress, transforms into the Hulk. While a fantastical representation, Banner's transformation vividly illustrates how overwhelming emotions can trigger profound physical and psychological changes. Similarly, in the novel The Perks of Being a Wallflower, the protagonist Charlie navigates the complexities of adolescence with a heightened level of empathy and sensitivity that often leads to emotional overload. His deep ability to feel the emotions of those around him, from his friends' struggles to family secrets, not only intensifies his social interactions, but also weighs heavily on his mental health, leaving him frequently overwhelmed and struggling to find his own emotional balance. These examples highlight how sensory and emotional overload can manifest, drawing a parallel to the real-life experiences of empaths. To manage this overload, empaths must employ various strategies to shield themselves and regain equilibrium. Techniques such as grounding exercises, sensory deprivation, or simply choosing serene environments can help mitigate these intense experiences. For empaths, solitude is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. The constant exposure to the emotions of others can be draining, making time alone crucial for emotional recuperation and processing. Solitude provides a sanctuary where empaths can unwind, reflect, and disconnect from the overwhelming emotional noise of the outside world. Historical figures who were known for their empathic abilities often sought solitude as a vital component of their lives. Mahatma Gandhi, who led India to independence through nonviolent protest, famously practiced silence every Monday. He believed this solitude was essential for his peace and renewal, allowing him to deal effectively with the demanding social and political struggles he faced. Psychologists support the need for solitude, particularly for highly sensitive people. Dr. Elaine Aron notes that solitude can help highly sensitive people and empaths avoid the overstimulation of their environment. This is crucial for maintaining balance and ensuring they can function effectively without emotional exhaustion. In practical terms, empaths can create spaces in their lives for solitude in various ways. It may involve establishing a quiet routine at the beginning or end of the day, finding retreat in nature, or engaging in solitary hobbies such as reading, writing, or gardening. These activities not only provide necessary breaks from the emotional bombardment of daily life, but also allow empaths to process their experiences more deeply. Anecdotes from modern empaths also highlight the value of solitude. For instance, a clinical psychologist and self-identified empath shared, "My morning walks are sacred. They are a time when I can be alone with my thoughts, away from the demands and emotions of others. It's during these walks that I often find clarity and strength." As an empath, recharging is not merely about resting. It's about restoring your emotional equilibrium and shielding yourself from overstimulation. Let's discuss some techniques that can help you maintain your well-being. Set aside time each day to meditate. This practice isn't just a pause, it's a reset for your emotional compass. Through meditation, you clear the clutter of absorbed emotions, making room for peace and clarity. Mindfulness keeps you rooted in the present, easing the weight of past and future emotional burdens. Together, these practices can form a protective barrier, helping you manage the emotional input from the world around you. There is a unique tranquility in nature that urban environments simply cannot offer. Whether it's a walk through a quiet forest, time spent in your garden, or sitting by a serene lake, nature provides a respite from the emotional noise. The natural world does not demand emotional processing or response, it simply allows you to be. Engaging in creative activities like painting, writing, or playing music is not just a hobby. It's a form of emotional expression and release. These activities offer you a channel to transform the emotions you've absorbed into something beautiful and expressive, aiding in emotional detoxification. Physical activity, particularly yoga, can be incredibly beneficial. It combines physical exertion with a focus on breathing and mindfulness, helping to release pent-up emotional and physical energy. Regular exercise not only strengthens your body, but also stabilizes your emotional landscape. Setting boundaries might be one of the most crucial strategies. We need to learn when to say no, how to limit our exposure to emotionally draining situations, and how to communicate our needs effectively to others. By setting boundaries, you protect your emotional space and conserve your energy. Proactively scheduling downtime is essential. This means regular periods where you disconnect from the demands of social media, decline social invitations, and focus solely on self-care. This isn't selfish. It's necessary for your emotional health and ensures that you don't reach the point of burnout. We've journeyed together through the daily realities and challenges you face as an empath. From the overwhelming influx of emotions in crowded spaces to the profound connections you forge through your empathic abilities, your experience of the world is uniquely intense and deeply nuanced. We've discussed practical techniques for managing sensory and emotional overload, from seeking solace in nature to engaging in creative expression and establishing vital boundaries. These strategies are not merely coping mechanisms, they are essential practices that help maintain your emotional well-being and enable you to thrive in a world that often feels too loud and too close. As we reflect on the importance of empathy in our society, it becomes clear that empaths play a crucial role. Your deep sensitivity enriches the human experience, fostering understanding and compassion in a world that often prioritizes detachment and objectivity. However, the gift of empathy also comes with its challenges, and it is imperative that as a society, we learn to nurture and support those with this ability. Here is a call to action for all of us. We need to strive to understand the needs of empaths and create environments where their gifts can flourish. Encourage practices in our schools, workplaces, and communities that promote empathy and support emotional well-being. Advocate for policies that recognize the emotional labor performed by empaths in various professions, ensuring they receive the support they need to manage this labor. Let this narrative serve as both a guide and a validation of your experiences. You are not alone in your feelings, and the challenges you face are recognized and real. As we continue to learn from each other, let us strive to create spaces that honor and nurture the gift of empathy, ensuring that empaths like you can flourish and continue to enhance our lives with your profound sensitivity.